Hello and welcome to our fourth Shiur, and this one is about the Britot of a Jew, the three Britot of a Jew. We are going to go into a little bit of depth. What does it mean to make a Brit, and how important is it? And we're going to look at each of the three Britot and see the elements of a Brit, and what is really demanded of a Jew. And some things here might surprise you. So the first Brit is the Brit between Jews and the world. And as we went over in the last Shiur, this is expressed as Shabbos in what we actually do on a daily basis. And it's also expressed in how we interact with the world. So one thing about a Brit is that we need to have a big vision. All three Britot have the number 70 as a part of it. No coincidence there. And Brit number one, the Brit between Jews and the world, is the Brit between the 70 nations and the Jews. And we see this clearly in a Gemara, where it says that during the days of Sukkot, the 7 days of Sukkot, they used to bring 70 korbanot that were connected the 70 nations. And on the 8th day, they brought one bull. They brought one korban, connected Uma Yechidia, the one singular nation, the Jewish nation. And the Gemara says that this is almost like a melech, a king that says, let's make a huge feast, a huge Suda Gdola, a huge inviting of all of the nations, that we are showing them that we love. But on the last day, it's just for you, the 71st nation. And where did the 70 nations come from, the number 70? Well, it actually came from the Dor HaFlaga. And the Dor HaFlaga was created in Pasuk and Bereshit in the times of Noach. Akin Karashama Bavel. It was called Bavel. Why? Because in the times of the Migdal Bavel, the days when they tried to build one tower, and they were together, as Rashi says, it wasn't that bad what they were trying to do. It wasn't as bad as the days of the Mabul. They were working together. But what was really so bad about it? All of mankind working together. And the Emek HaDavar says that V'yayihi hamigdal litzafot mimenu, that they created to make a tower that they could observe everyone lemerachok, from far away. Lemerachok acher kol hayishuv shalem shelo yu nifradim ba'eretz acheret, that they observed over all of the other settlements, even the ones that were far away, so that they would have control over them. So the number 70 is actually the vision of a Brit, that all of these nations of the world that are operating on their own, are acting on their own free will, their own devices, we are actually not in control of. And that's what makes the beauty of this Brit, that no matter what is going on in the world, we Jews are in a sense responsible in a certain way for all of these nations. We are celebrating all of them, what they are doing on their own. Dor HaFlaga, the generations that were separated. What else is included in this Brit? Well, there is the Brit of Dina Shemalchuta Dina, which is that we keep the laws of the nation that we are in. And this has to do with it. To keep a Brit, it is demanded of you. You must maintain it. And Dina Shemalchuta Dina, Dina de Malchuta Dina, the law of the kingdom that you are a part of is your law. And the Shulchan Aruch brings this up over 25 times. Shedin HaMelech Din, and this is Yisrael Sheyeh Chayev La'akum. A Jew is chayev, is obligated in laws of the non-Jews. Unless, only, de lo amrinan dina de malchuta ela b'davar sheyishbo hana'al hamelech. Only when it actually benefits the kingdom that you're a part of, like taxes. But if it actually, oshayul taneket b'nei hamedina, or if it's going to fix and help the country you're a part of. But don't keep laws of the other nations entirely, because or else batlu kol dinei Yisrael, or else there won't be any laws left for the Jews to keep of the Torah. And what else is included in this Brit? Well, darchei shalom, peaceful ways, that we actually also, in order to make a Brit, there has to be a level of amicability, an element of friendliness or even love. And this is included that we actually have to treat non-Jews in Bikur Cholim, in taking care of their dead, because it is the way of peace. And it is the way how we act. That is Brit number one. Brit number two, the Brit of the Jewish people. This was the Brit that was made with Avraham and Brit ben Habitarim. and also has similarities in the Brit of the Brit Mila. And actually, the Brit Mila is expressed here when the Brit of the Jews, number 70 again, the vision of the Jewish people, when they entered Mitzrayim, Vayhi kol nefesh yotzei yerech Yaakov shivim nafesh, there were 70 Jews that entered into Mitzrayim. And as the Bechor Shor says, Shivim im Yaakov Amar Yotzei Yerech Yaakov, Shakulam Yotzei Yerecho Levad Hu Levado. It is there to show us that each person is important in this Brit, every single person. And so 70 represents the vision of the Brit. There's many, just like there are many nations operating on their own, there are Jews operating on their own free will. And this is important because while Jews are operating on their own free will, we are still responsible for them. And we are commanded in this Brit, Shekol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Bazeh, that we are responsible for one another, that even if somebody makes a sin, a chet, we are responsible for that in some way, in some spiritual way, their chet, whether it's us feeling their suffering. And just like when you daven for a Jew, in Zimbabwe, in Thailand, in Finland, in the other side of the world, you could have an effect on them. Same thing with your sin. There could be an energy that connects us all. There's actually 17 mitzvot in the Ki Psukim in Vayikra Perek Yud Tet that discuss ways of us relating to other Jews. These are things that we are going to be going over in Chavruta learning, and it ends off the Ahavta L'Recha Kamocha. And let's take this even a step further, the commandment to be a part of this Brit for all Jews. And it's actually discussed in this idea that if you have a friend that you love or a friend that you hate, you are actually mitzvah bisonei kidei lakof et yitzro. Who do you help out? You help out. It is a mitzvah to help out the Jew who you hate in order to contain your Yetzer Hara, in order to subdue him. Meaning, you have a Yetzer Hara who doesn't want to help the Jew that you hate. You want to help the Jew that you love. But in order to fight your Yetzer Hara, you have to do this. In a sense, you're commanded to do this, even though you don't want it. And Tosfot actually interestingly points out on that Gemara, Kevan shehu sonao gam chavero sono oto. Actually, it's a Gemara in Psachim. Then why is it that you have to help him out? Because actually, if you show your hatred and don't help out this individual, then your friend is more likely to hate you. And the Gemara in Shabbat, in Rashi, and Kuf Chaf Zayin also points this out. Hadin chavero lechof zechut, dinino tol zechut. Same language, lechof, to subdue, as if you're commanded to, you're demanded of you to do this. You have to judge others favorably. Why you judge others favorably? In order to promote shalom. As you can look in this Rashi and Kuf Chav Zayin, that what does judging other favorably have to do with shalom? You're actually by recognizing that some things are outside of one's free will. And by them doing something bad, a sin, that is actually outside of their free will. And by judging them favorably, you're creating peace. Just like we said with being responsible, you're actually creating something amazing by judging them favorably. And this will take us to the final Brit, the Brit between the Jewish people and the Torah. And just like there were 70 of the other two Brits, there are 70 faces of Torah. And the Orach Chaim says, what does the 70 faces of Torah tell you? That even though not everybody agrees, until it comes down to the final halacha, you could offer explanations on the Torah. As long as you carefully study it. Every pasuk has 70 faces, which is in a sense an infinite amount of ways of understanding a pasuk, a story, a Torah connection, sort of like what we're doing at Torah verse. And that is the Shivim Panim b'Torah, and that's the vision of this Brit. And where is the commandment of the Torah? Well, it's a pretty strong one. When it came to Har Sinai, we were forced to keep the Torah. And if we didn't, we were going to die there. Now, why does that make the Torah meaningful if we're forced to keep it? Well, we see that in a mitzvah. Gadol mitzvah ve'oseh mimi she'oseh she'enu mitzvah ve'oseh. It is greater to keep a mitzvah if you're forced to do it than if you don't have to do it. And how does Tosfot explain that? Demi shemitztaveh ve'oseh adif lefi shedoeg u'mitzta'er yoter. Because if you do a mitzvah that you're forced to do, you actually appreciate it more because it causes more effort. You got to extend yourself more, because if you're not commanded, if you want to do it or not, it's not a big deal. You don't feel that same level of obligation. And this actually comes up in a story where actually the idea of being forced to keep the Torah, Hashem says, it's actually a sweet secret that the Jewish people figured out. Na'aseh v'nishma. And it comes up in a story between Rava and someone who hated the Jewish people. And he said to this Rava, why would you be so impulsive? Why would you be so quick and accept the Torah before you even know what's in it? And he says, it's not just that you're forced to do something. The commandment actually produces the real love. Because he says, the saginan bishlei musa. It's actually a wholeheartedness. We want it so badly that it's as if we were forced to do it. It's like we were meant to keep the Torah. So therefore, it's like forced upon us. Unlike those who choose if they want to do it, it actually produces more room for deceit. For, we don't really have to do it. It's not something that, it's almost like a relationship. If someone's not forced to be in this relationship, they'll find ways to get out of it. And they'll do it when it's convenient for them. And the final source, which I'm struggling scrolling up all the way here, is with the source that we saw earlier, that the entire Torah, don't do that which you don't want your friend to do to you. That's the whole Torah. And what is that actually referring to? This actually connects the last Brit in this one. It says, like, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Who is your reacha? It's actually Hashem. The commandments are actually your friend. Hashem is your friend. And so actually what you're forced to do is actually a friendship. Just like a loyal friendship. You do things because in a sense, you have to do it. You have become part of this bond with your friend. And so as we see the three britot, the Brit between you, us and the world, us and the Jewish people, and us and the Torah, have a vision of 70, have a commandment that we're forced to do it. But really it's about love. And it's really because we want peace and love with the world, the Jewish people, and ourselves. Hopefully you enjoyed this shiur.